Hi everyone. I'm going to start again because there was no one in the room, and now some of you have arrived, and we don't know what's going on because we were here last week, faithfully filming away, but a lot of you wrote in and said you couldn't get on to the class, so we'll try and figure out what that problem is. But we've been reviewing the big themes that we've been working on. And so last time we were taking a look at the roots of the vocabulary that we've been using, especially around the sense of weight and its relation to the breath and the movements of the spine. So you're welcome to go and have a look. And so today we're going to make our way into the spine, and we're going to look at flexion and extension. And I think it's very helpful because it's a way for you to really get to know why sometimes your back acts up or is painful, and key things you should and shouldn't do. So we're going to be lying on our backs like this, with your arms wide, with the palms up, and a little bit of support under your head. So if you're comfortable, have your legs straight. If that's a challenge for you, bend them. If you're not sure, you can do a bit of each. Arms quite wide, palms up, a little bit of support under the head so that you alleviate any extra tensions between head and neck and shoulders. And then the breath is blowing through the garden, and we're heavy, we're on the ground. Always remembering, movement practice is always an invitation to remember that being in the world and having a world is not a head trip. It's an embodied reality. And one of the things about head trips is the anxiety, the naming, the acceleration, the putting things in boxes, the shutting down of space. Whereas embodied reality, and of course they're not separate, but you know, when you're just tasting something delicious or sitting in the sun or falling asleep, it's not something you necessarily need to think through. We get very locked into seeing with the central part of the eye, which is wired towards naming, and it helps us to get anxious. And it helps us be precise, and etc. But the retina, the big colorful bit all around, that's much more involved in placing things in space, in noticing the space between things, in noticing shades of color and tonality and depth. And it's not an anxious making aspect of our processing. And I think it's really helpful to remember when you're moving, you're not naming, you're placing. So our head is on a little bit of support. I'm going to make mine a tad higher. Our arms are wide, the palms are up. And we're going to just let the head wobble from side to side. Try not to look at it. Try not to look at yourself moving. We've talked a lot about nearness. And also, try not to be in the vision of seeing the object rolling on the floor, but rather be more like in the coffee inside the teacup. So your head is full of water or coffee or angel dust or whatever you like. And as you wobble the head, it's more like you're pouring weight from ear to ear. Maybe even that you feel the weight as some warm, deliciously oozy scented thing pouring or trickling out of your ear. So you're not looking at the object rolling around on the floor. You're really with the inside content sloshing around, dribbling out of one ear, dribbling out of another ear. Maybe take a moment to swallow. As I wobbled my head, I just noticed that something in my chest let go and my arms widened a bit. So this is what we're doing, being. We're in the garden and we're digging around, and then we notice that there's a shift or a change. Rather than looking and naming and shaping, which is wonderful, but for another time. So heavy, the head wobbles, then it can be still, and we swallow. And the arms are ever more releasing into the ground, and the legs are ever more releasing into the ground. Let's wobble the legs a little bit. So just wobble in and out. Wobble, big, small, not just at the ankle and the foot, but the whole leg right up into the hips and pelvis. Wobble, joggle. Wonderful, back to the head. Okay, there's room to breathe. Wonderful. So we're just going to make it very easy. Just let the palms open. Very easy. And the elbow. Fingers are growing. The fingers are growing. The palms are opening. You're not stretching, you're not tightening. The fingers are growing, palms up. And then these long finger arms with open hands begin to levitate off the ground, maybe 4 or 5 centimeters. Fingers open, palm opening, lengthening. Arms coming up off the ground, lots of length, letting your arms, they may be bouncing around a little bit in the air, just let that happen. Yeah. So we're not stiff, but we're very tensile and long, and it's like something is pulling on the inner fibers of your fingers out at the horizon. Pulling, so you're becoming huger and huger. Lift your arms a little more, maybe now a foot, 20, 30 centimeters. Lots of length and breath. Wobble the head, swallow when you need. Let's lift another 30 centimeters, so your arms are up at a V, long, straight arms. As the arms are reached up and out, feel the weight of your chest on the vertebrae. Feel those crunchy bits that don't move melting into the floor. And then just bring the arms down. Just take in what's changing. Okay, so now we're going to turn the palms down. So the arms are long, the palms are facing down. Try to make the rotation kind of climb up into your elbow. Fingers opening, palm touching the ground, the breath, it's easy, you can swallow. Lots of length starting to happen. Your fingers are being pulled at the horizon, length, so you're not stretching and getting stiff, but you are getting longer and longer, and it's like you're engaging the inner tensile possibilities of your arm, and now they come off the ground, 5 centimeters. Big fingers, big palm opening, heavy head, huger and huger, lots of room. And then the arms come up another 30 centimeters. Very heavy, heavy ribs. Hi, Henriette, join us. Long arms growing. Can your arms grow? So now we're maybe 60 centimeters off the ground. Lots of length, heavy in the vertebra. Let's do a bit more so you have a slightly tighter V. Lots of length. So for a moment, reach up with the arms so the shoulder blades come off the floor. Reach, mobilize those shoulder blades. Feel the curve of your spine. Your head is about to come off the floor, and then put the shoulder blades back down and drop the arms. And just take it in. Arms can go palms up again. So turn the arms so that the baby finger is on the floor, the little finger. And again, your fingers are being pulled from the horizon. Your arms are lengthening. They begin to come off the ground, 5 centimeters. Let the hands really open. Let the fingers be part of the long arm. So it's like they're lengthening from deep inside your heart and lungs. And then the arms go up another 30 centimeters, length, length, length. Breath, the weight of those vertebrae on the floor, and another 30 centimeters so that it's a slightly tighter V. Wobble the head, feel how many of those chest vertebrae are actually stuck. Now reach with the arms, reach so the shoulder blades come up. Keep reaching so the spine gets more and more just the center part on the floor. Reach and then put the shoulder blades back down and drop the arms. And take in what's happening. Let's turn the arms completely the other way so that the thumbs are on the ground and the fingers are being opened from the horizon. So it's just the tip of the thumb touching the ground. Long arms and they come off the ground 5 centimeters. So this kind of rotation will make your arms bounce around. This is very profound. We're making the nerves slide in the brachial passageways. Long opening of hands. Fingers are being lengthened. We come up another 30 centimeters. Fingers are being lengthened. As the arms come up, the shoulder blades and vertebrae are heavy on the ground. Something shifting in the chest, the breastbone, the neck, relaxed in the face. Swallowing, you can wobble whenever you need. Let the arms come up again so you have a tighter V. Breath, lots of length through the arms, lots of length. And then just bring the arms back to the floor. Yeah, beautiful. Yawning. Just feel what the arms are doing, what they need. Okay, so we're going to bend the left leg and plant the foot, bend the right leg and plant the foot. Wonderful. And we're just going to let the legs fall to the right completely. Both set of legs. They don't need to be symmetrical. You don't need to put one foot on top of the other. So you're going to feel this rotation coming up the spine, maybe up halfway, but it doesn't need to involve the arms and shoulders and chest. Really allowing the legs to be heavy. And then we come through the middle. And we go the other way. And we come through the middle. And we go the other way. And again. Letting the breath, noticing that you're heavy, noticing how you roll on the ground, how the movement transpires. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's another person there. Yeah, why don't you come here? Do you have any back pains or things I should know? Yeah, beautiful. How is that, David?
It's actually fine.
Yeah.
Because I was coming to the doctor almost and he disappeared.
But this is what we did is a very good way to recover. This is the first.
Very helpful.
Yeah, when your back starts to feel wonky, this is a very good one to do because as you twist, and just allow. Are we back? Yeah, so we folded the legs in and we're just quietly letting the legs fall towards the chest. Very nice. And then just let one leg lengthen along the ground. So you have a bent leg and a straight leg. Bent leg and straight leg. Yeah. So you can feel that if you pull the leg quite strongly, it pulls the other leg off the ground. You can feel. So the more you pull, the more it pulls that one up. But if you release the leg a bit, the other leg falls to the floor. And that's the one we want to do. Yeah. So that's it, Sam. So give yourself a bit of room so that the long leg can drop off the floor and the bended leg can be. So remember we talked about your tendency to turn out. So keep your leg a little bit to the center. Just like that. Is it hurting your back? No. That's it. Yeah, just like that. So you have 1 and 2. You have this dropping and this bending. Yeah, so it's like the bended leg is like a waterfall leg. It's falling into the pelvis. And the straight leg is like a river leg. I'm going to put it, if you put it on the kneecap, yeah, then it's there. And then it just falls down. Yeah. Yeah. And the straight leg is like a river leg, which is rivering away and lengthening. So you're really letting these two very different motions happen. One is long and away, and the other one is bended and falling into. Just breathe and don't think and don't worry about it. And just sweep up the mice poops. And then change legs. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. The other leg. Yeah, so now you have a better sense of what we do and don't want to do. Yeah, just for the purposes of this. So the bended leg is being allowed to tumble back into its home in the pelvis. And the long leg is being allowed to be heavy and lengthen away on the floor. Yeah. One of the ways we end up compromising our backs is that we don't realize that the legs have become locked into one block at the pelvis. They're no longer able to make really differentiated movements, which we need for walking and reaching and running and so on. So we're just letting them separate out so the pelvis doesn't become this jungle that has overwhelmed them and forcing everything, including the lower back, to, under the slavery of this jungle of very, very strong muscles and ligaments and things. Long and folded. Great. And then put the folded leg with the foot on the floor. Plonk. And bend the other leg. So you have both legs bent, both feet on the floor. Yeah. And take the palms of your hands and put them on your belly so that your little fingers come all the way down and touch the edges of your thighs, which are bended up. So it's way down in the groins. Yeah. And just have a moment, just breathe, just have a moment. The soft belly under the hands, the folded legs. And then we're going to let the legs fall towards each other so that the knees lean on each other. Yeah, the knees lean on each other. Yeah, and you can widen your feet if you need to, if you're like me, and the front flexors are very, very bunchy and strong, and they don't let you really relax the legs together. Yeah, this is a very profound movement, allowing the big femurs to settle in towards the cave where the head of the femur lives. Just letting that be. The breath. Yeah, the breath. Just a bit more. And then we'll start, and then we'll do 700 jumping jacks and 5,000 push-ups.
Okay. I'm ready.
I'm ready. Yeah.
The muscles I touch now here.
Yes.
One is painful since I started cycling. I think it's a muscle.
It is. It is. Does it feel deep and bony, or does it feel muscly?
I think it's muscle.
Yeah. You have two little triangular muscles right in there that are big squeezers. They squeeze the legs together. So I don't know. Maybe you're frightened of falling off your bike.
Yeah, maybe I'm going to
Yeah. Yeah, I can feel here also you're doing something. Yeah. So you don't want to squeeze the legs, you just want to let them fall. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Okay, and then pick a direction and let your legs continue both in that direction. And you'll then come around onto your side and slowly all the way around onto your hands and knees. Take your time, take your time. Take your time. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe Sam and Henriette can turn around, and then so so just make sure you have the padding under your knees that you need. Yeah, so that you're not in pain. kneecap-wise. And again, if your wrists hurt you, look what I'm doing. You can roll up your mat a bit and support the wrist, or you can get something soft like a little cushion, but not this way. This doesn't, or even this. This exacerbates the problem because it makes the angle more and more. But this alleviates the angle, the amount of angle, and it's soft, so it's making the wrist open. It's up to you. If it's really bad, just come down to your elbows. So here we are on our hands and knees. Close your eyes for a moment and let the head drop and wobble it so that we get heavy again. And then we're just going to let, for a moment, we're going to let the bum and the head move around any way they want, to the side, to the back, to the front. They can move together, they can move opposing. Don't look at yourself moving, just be heavy. Yeah, and you'll notice, that's it, that you might get more wavy, and the weight starts to flow from arm to arm. So unlock your shoulders, yeah. And you don't need to be in constant motion. You can accelerate and decelerate. You can stop and breathe. You can move again. So if you're in quite a movie rhythm, yeah, you can speed it up and slow it down. You can do more, you can do less. Very nice, very nice. Okay, and then really drop the head with its antlers and branches and halos and crowns. Drop the head completely. And then drop the tail completely. And you'll notice that when you do that, the back naturally arches, just very naturally. So just let that happen. Very heavy tail, very heavy head. Allowing the head and tail to drop and the spine to arch skywards. You don't need to squeeze anything. And then I'm just rocking forward and backward as I arch. That changes the arch a bit and may help you free things up. Back, forward, arching, dropping the tail. Great. Now the head and the tail start to come up. Lots of length. And the belly starts to drop. The belly starts to drop. Let the head come up. You don't need to squeeze in the back of the neck. The tail comes up. And in this position, really have a moment where you allow every layer of the belly and chest to drop. The skin, the fat, the muscles, the bones, the organs, the back of the organs, the front of the vertebrae. Can bend your elbows a bit, it can free up the shoulders. And now the head is going down. So we're not squeezing muscles, we're just dropping the head with its huge antlers. And we're dropping the huge wolf's tail. And that makes the spine naturally arch in the other direction. And we rock forward and backward. Try to really play with the elements I gave you. So the heavy head, the heavy tail, not looking at the shape, playful, not worrying about whether you're doing it right or wrong. It looks beautiful. And really letting the whole spine arch, 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 arch. Wonderful. Wonderful. And coming back to the middle. Okay. Beautiful. Looked very nice. Okay. So we're now going to let the elbows come to the floor. Yeah. So bend your toes so that the toes are hooked into the ground. And as you release the elbows more and more into the floor, and you can feel that space between the shoulders softening, like the spiny part of your shoulders seems to be sinking to the floor, like your breastbone is going to the floor. Just lean backwards into your sit bones. Lean backwards, not too far. We're not doing child pose, but back just far enough so you're leaning back and your forehead may end up on the floor. Bent toes hooked into the ground, leaning back into the sit bones, pelvic floor widening, tail pointing straight up into the air. Okay, this is quite good. Stay here, but walk forward with your arms a bit and move your head a bit more. Yeah, is that okay? Mm-hmm. So now you're dropping much more through. Yeah. And David, you can walk forward with your arms more. Okay. Put. Is that okay? Great. Okay. So now here you are in this new position. We've done this a lot because I think it's often overlooked and everyone ends up in child pose, but you never end up in squirrel with its tail in the air pose. And this is a fundamental pose for regaining your spine just before it falls into the World Wide Web through the screen of your iPhone. Just before you lose your spine, do this. Yeah, that's great. Is it comfortable? So if it's bothering your shoulders, you can widen your arms a little bit. This is very beautiful. But otherwise, you want to drop through. Yeah. So what we're doing, are you comfortable, Sam? Mm. So what we're doing is something that you probably haven't done with your lower back in ages. So you can drop that to the floor. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Now, when you're ready, you can widen a little bit more. Yes. So the shoulders are not blocking you. Is that okay? Now, sit back into your sit bones a bit. Stop there. That's it. And breathe. So once in this position, you want to imagine all your organs hanging directly to the floor. The heart, the lungs, the eating and breathing tubes, all the fermenting organs, the colon, the liver, hanging through. And the arms getting out of the way. And so this is very, very, very profound. If you find the right position, you are actually lengthening and vitalizing the front of your back, the space between the vertebral bodies, the front of them and the vertebrae. And then just let your head roll, stay in this position, but to the right or to the left. Stay in this position, just turn, that's it. Just let the head turn. Yeah, and just let yourself, that's it. Let the neck bend and rotate. Yeah. If you're over 60, you shouldn't stay too long in this position with the rotation.
Why? The head falls off.
Change side.
No. You get dementia. Ah, well, that's okay. I've got that already. So.
Yeah, he has that one already.
No problemo.
No, it's the carotid artery is quite bendy as it goes from the neck into the head.
And cut off the brain.
That's right. That's right. Breathe. That looks very nice, Henriette, how you're doing that. Yeah. On the other side, has everyone done all the different sides? Breathe. Release. Yeah. This is a very profound movement now for the whole spine and the neck. The neck and its capacity and need to bend and rotate. Beautiful. Toes. Imagine the inside of your mouth and the back of your nose and the back of your eyes relaxing towards the floor. Beautiful. And so uncurl your toes, under your toes, and slowly walk backwards until your bum is on your heels. You can put your head back in the middle and just make your way backwards under your toes so your feet can be flat. Yes, it's not painful. That's it. And you just keep walking back with your arms. Yeah, is this okay?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And then rest. Maybe with one wrist on top of the other and your head on your wrists. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Yeah. And the weight. That's it. And just so always in these soft, very front-bended positions, just be, no, you're good. Just be aware of any lower back discomfort. There shouldn't be. The breath, the weight pouring out through the elbows and the forehead or the forehead. Yeah. Yeah, knees can be together, knees can be wide. Yeah. And that's it. Just letting the weight take you all the way through. So one of the things you notice if you get used to practicing, and you know you can do this at a special time on the floor like this, or while the kettle's boiling in the kitchen, or in the shower, or in bed, there are lots of ways to tune in. But when you're tuning in and you start to move, very often we realize that bubbles of memory and shifts of mood have happened. And this is natural to our embodiment. It's not possible to move separate from all the other stuff that makes you. And it's interesting, sometimes we were dealing with a problem and then we go for a walk, or we take some time to move, or we're caught in a rain shower, and then the problem is solved or aggravated because the whole texture changed, or we have an insight. We go, oh, and that. So that's the beauty of remembering that we are moving beings. And in fact, we know because we move. We don't know because we're thinking. We know things because we're moving in a world, and the world is moving and moving us. Okay, stay there, stay heavy, wobbly head. Maybe you started drooling. Heavy, heavy, heavy. And now little by little, you're going to walk forward with your arms, little by little. So if you've been coming to these classes online that we started with COVID, we will have done this many, many times. Yeah, so going from child's pose or hibernating squirrel to squirrel with its tail in the air. So you keep going forward until you're back where you were before, with the whole spine hanging off. It's as if you were hanging from the sky with your tail. And the whole spine is hanging off. You're not blocking with your shoulders. You're not too far back or too far forward with your bum. There's a feeling that you're leaning back into your sit bones. the breath, the space, and the hangingness. Yeah. Yeah. Too much bending forward at screens and over counters and controlling things causes the spine the lower spine especially, to become a bit like a marsh. It gets soggy and clunky. And then beginning to recover what we're doing now, beginning to recover its capacity to arch, brings everything back to biological normal. Okay, so there you are. Let your palms open like we did the very first time with the when we're lying on our backs, but palms down. Yeah, palms down. And let the fingers get very long, very long, very long. Keep it easy, keep it easy. Yeah, now get ready. Your toes are curled under. You're long, you're awake in the hands, and your antlers become very awake, and you feel that your toes are pushing you forward, and your antlers are taking off. So we come up through the elbows and up onto the palms, and we've come through to somewhere here. Long. So we're not on hands and knees like a box anymore. We've kind of come through, and the head is long. That's it, long. And just explore, watch me. So you could surrender completely. Try it. Don't, if it hurts the lower back, stop. Okay, we could surrender completely, or we could be in a kind of sit up, right? Surrender, or overflexed. You can leave your knees on the floor, Sam. Or you can find a middle place. And the middle place we find by having toes and antlers. The minute the toes wake up and the head lengthens, we find a stable middle place, and you should be able to talk to each other with lovely resonant voices. Yeah, so you can say, didn't you like the peppers we had for lunch? Yeah, so, and you can hear, look, if I'm here, you see my voice has changed, and here also. We want to find this place where we're transmitting resonance through the body and not overflexing or overarching. Toes are awake, the head direction is awake. It's not something you think, yeah. And now, very nice, now the right heel goes back, and the left heel goes back. So now it's not only toes, but it's reaching heels, long head direction. So we're going to be here for a couple of hours, reaching. So Sam, look at me. You're a bit down there, which is making it harder. Yeah. Find, awaken your hands, awaken your shoulder blades. Yes, we're going to do some Gilbert and Sullivan. Here we go. What to do to die today? After me. What to do to die today? At 1:45 to 2.
At 1:45 to 2.
A thing distinctly hard to say.
A thing distinctly hard to say.
But a harder thing to do.
But a harder thing to do.
Okay. What to do to die today at 1:45 to 2. A thing distinctly hard to say, but a harder thing to do. Again, what to do to die today at 1:45 to 2. A thing distinctly hard to say, but a harder thing to do. And put your knees down and release all the way back into child pose. Wide knees, long back. Yeah. Yeah, so that was wonderful. Once you started focusing on remembering and sounding, everyone got longer and it all got easier and easier and easier. So we'll do it for longer next time. Yeah. Long, heavy spine draped over your organs. Great. And then when you're ready, you're just going to start walking forward with your arms again. Same process. And, you know, do it for yourself. One arm next, maybe 2 to 3 centimeters each time, so that you feel that as your arms go forward, your bum starts to come up. Your bum comes up and you start to notice that the space between the sit bones relaxes and widens. Yeah, and eventually you feel your belly is hanging through, and now your tail is way up in the air, way up in the air. Huge bended toes, big wide hands, long fingers. Everything is easy. Now we're going to push from the toes and reach with the forehead, coming through, coming through, coming through, coming through. Yeah, find your way. Find your way, and going back with the right heel and back with the left heel. And just easy. Yeah, not complicated, just easy. Now bend your knees just a little. Watch me. And let your bum float upwards. Knees are bent. Head dropping through between the arms, and really get onto the bended toes. Here, that's beautiful. You can widen your feet a bit. This is good. Wait, just follow me. Yeah, I'm just going to bring you back. Yeah, bend. Yeah, that's it. Is it okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now just let yourself drop through. No, that was more than you needed to do. You were great. And let go here. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, knees bent. That's it. Spine dropping through. Breath. Let's just make a... Is this okay?
Yeah.
Somewhere between laughing and vomiting and sobbing. Yeah, wobble the head, let the spine drop through, and come back to the floor with your knees. Yeah, beautiful. How is that, David?
That was absolutely fine.
Great, great, great. Great. And over here, Senora. Good. So just resting. Just resting. Resting, resting, resting. Okay. So when you're ready, you're going to start walking through arm by arm, and enjoy as you walk through, noticing the spine starts to lengthen, the pelvis starts to come up. Yeah. Let's do it again. Come back. Okay. Okay, so walk. One. Slow down. Yeah. Open your hands. Yeah, and a little wider there. Keep going. Yeah. Now drop the head again to the floor. Next one. Yeah, you see, now you're hanging through. Next one. Yeah, stop there. This is good. Palms down. Okay, and then we're going to reach through with the head, and the toes are bent under, and we come through, all the way through. That's it, Sam. All the way through. We're all the way through to here. Then the heels go back, and we're here. Then we bend the knees, and the bum goes flying up. Have a look at what I'm going to do. So here I am, bended knees, toes, and then I'm just going to let one leg go up. You don't need to put the other heel on the floor. Keep the leg bent. And we just let the leg go up and have a look. And then we can make just this little movement like this. Just like that. That's it. Yes.
What movement is it that we were making? I can't see it from here.
Right. You look.
Well, no, I can't
You
look.
want to go this way.
Oh.
That's it. You want to go this way. Bend your leg. Come with me. That's it. That's it. Yeah, this is a wonderful way of correcting your lower back. Great, and come back down. Come back down. Have a look. Watch me for a sec. So here we are. Here we are. Yeah. So the way the back goes out, this area here, usually we bend forward to pick up something, but it's over there. So we make a little rotational movement. We load the body, we lift, and the whole thing goes wonky. So this movement is exactly the opposite of that. I'm up, I'm up here. And then as I lengthen, there's balloons and doves and things attached to my foot. As it flies up, I just let myself make a bit of a back bend. Like that. And the weight of the leg is correcting. It's like a waterfall that's correcting everything through. And I could see all of you do it. It's beautiful. Heavy head, long antlers on the ground, big squirrel's tail flying up. Off you go. So try, yeah, you can widen your feet here. Yeah, and then you release one leg. The reason I keep the knee bent, that's beautiful, is so that the leg is not sticking out. Yeah. That's it. And then all good, but you're coming this way, this way, this way. Make a both sides. Wonderful here. Lots of leg, toes, and fingers. Very bended toe. You're like extreme. This is an extreme sport, big toe bendness. Yeah.
And I'm not falling over.
You're doing beautifully. Beautiful, beautiful, and come down. And just roll over and lie on your backs, just like you were doing at the beginning. Very wide arms, very palms up. Yeah. Surrender everything to the ground through the sense of weight. Yeah. Lots of ease. And we're going to bend the knees when you're ready, plant the feet on the ground, and just let the legs fall first one way and then the other way. So that twisty thing we did, yeah. Just slowly noticing as you go. Noticing, noticing, noticing. Yeah, lots of space from hand to hand, across the structures of your chest, across the heart and lungs. Legs bent, feet on the ground, and then just letting the legs fall one way. Is it bothering you a little bit?
No.
Okay.
I'm just curious because it seems all related.
Yeah, well, it's you. But if you were playing at home in your room, and stuff, you could put something between your legs. I'll just let you feel what that would be like. Just if you felt it was pulling, because sometimes pulling is not helpful, then that would.
Yeah, it's restful here.
Yeah, so you can play with things. Yeah, so hang out and then come through the middle and go to the other side. Yeah. All the way across. Beautiful. And we're just going to let the arms widen, palms up, and come off the ground 5 centimeters. Keep the arms long and straight and the fingers open. And the legs can go from side to side if you want to. Beautiful. Heavy, 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 heavy. So coming back, being in your own garden, the garden of your own body, not looking at it, not wondering or worrying about the rightness of the movement, but resonating and receiving, being near, just receiving the flow of sensations. And this deep sense that we all have, which is that we know our bodies, even though there's lots we don't know, and one day we'll let go of our bodies as we move on to another realm. But we kind of also deeply know, so we're not abdicating our sense of body self to some other expertise. So just receiving, noticing, and then just let the arms fall to the floor and let the legs straighten. And you can be in a kind of slightly wide starfish. Yeah, heavy on the ground. Okay, so thank you everyone. You can stay on the floor for a bit if you want. And thanks all of you. And we'll try and find out what happened with the link last time and maybe this time at the beginning of the class, because it's something's happening. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.